I watched my little sister stand at the altar in my wedding dress and lie to everyone we knew. And the worst part? My own mother nodded along. "This dress," Brittany said, her voice trembling with fake emotion as she touched the beaded bodice, "has been in our family for generations. Our grandmother Rose wore it when she married our grandfather in 1952. Our mother Patricia wore it when she married our father in 1975. And now, 20 years into my marriage, I get to wear it too." I stood in the third row of New Hope Baptist Church, frozen. My husband, Marcus, squeezed my hand, confused. Our 17-year-old daughter, Maya, leaned over and whispered, "Mom, isn't that your dress?" Yes. Yes, it was my dress. The dress I'd bought at David's Bridal in 2003 for $847.99. The dress I'd had altered 3 times to fit perfectly. The dress I'd worn when I married Marcus 20 years ago at this exact church. And my sister, my baby sister who I'd trusted, who I'd helped raise after our father died, was standing up there telling everyone it was a family heirloom. Our mother sat in the front row, dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief, nodding along to every word of Brittany's lie. And I realized they'd planned this together. My name is Denise Williams, and I'm 47 years old. I've been married to Marcus for 20 years. We have 3 kids, Maya, 17, Jordan, 15, and Caleb, 12. I work as an administrative coordinator at Emory University, and Marcus is a civil engineer. We live in Stone Mountain, just outside Atlanta. Before all this happened, I thought I had a good relationship with my family. Close, even. My mother, Patricia, lived 15 minutes away and came over for Sunday dinners. My sister Brittany and her husband Devin lived in Decatur, and we saw them regularly for birthdays and holidays. But looking back now, I can see the pattern. The way our family has always worked, the way I was expected to hold everything together while Brittany was allowed to fall apart. Brittany is 5 years younger than me. When our father died of a heart attack when I was 20 and she was 15, I became like a second mother to her. Not because I wanted to, really, but because someone had to be. Our mother collapsed after Dad died, spent 3 months in bed, barely eating, barely speaking. So I came home from college every weekend, made sure Brittany got to school, made sure she ate, made sure someone was there when she cried in the middle of the night. I was grieving too, but nobody asked about that. When Brittany was struggling with her college essay, I wrote most of it. When she got into trouble her sophomore year for plagiarizing a paper, I helped her write the appeal letter that kept her from being expelled. When she lost her first job for calling in sick too many times, I rewrote her resume and coached her through interviews until she found something new. I did it because I loved her, because she was my baby sister, and our father wasn't there anymore to protect her. But there was always this undertone of resentment, little comments she'd make. Once, when Marcus and I bought our house in Stone Mountain, Brittany came over for the housewarming. She walked through every room with this tight smile, touching the granite countertops, looking at the crown molding. "Must be nice," she'd said, "to have a husband who makes 6 figures." "Marcus works hard for his money," I'd replied carefully. "So does Devin. We just don't all get lucky, I guess." Lucky. As if Marcus's engineering degree hadn't required 4 years of school plus a master's. As if we hadn't lived in a tiny apartment and eaten ramen for years while he built his career. Or the time I wore a new dress to church, A simple navy blue sheath from Target, nothing fancy. "That's pretty," Brittany had said. "I could never afford something like that." "It was $25. "Oh," she'd looked away. "Well, some of us have to budget more carefully." I'd wanted to remind her about the $300 I'd loaned her the month before, that she still hadn't paid back. But I didn't, because that's what I did. I swallowed my frustration and let it go. Our mother never corrected her, never said, "Brittany, that's not fair to your sister." Instead, she'd smooth things over, change the subject, pretend nothing had happened. There was this one incident when we were younger that I should have paid more attention to. I was 25, newly engaged to Marcus. Brittany was 20 and dating Devin. We all went to a family barbecue at our aunt's house. I was showing people my engagement ring. Nothing fancy, just a simple diamond solitaire that Marcus had saved for months to buy. People were congratulating us, asking about wedding plans, being excited. Brittany pulled me aside at one point. "You know, I thought Devin was going to propose to me this summer." "Really? That's great." "But he didn't. And now everyone's going to be focused on your wedding instead." "Brittany, your time will come. You always get everything first. First car, first job, first house, first wedding. It's like I'm just following in your shadow." "That's not fair. I'm 5 years older. Of course things happen to me first." She looked at me with something cold in her eyes. "Must be nice to always be the favorite." "I'm not the favorite." "Whatever you say, Denise." Later that day, I'd overheard her talking to our cousin Michelle. "Did you see Denise's ring? It's so small. Devin would never give me something like that. He has taste." When I confronted her about it, she'd laughed. "I didn't say that. You must have heard wrong." But I knew what I'd heard. And when I mentioned it to our mother, she'd sighed. "You know how Brittany is. She says things she doesn't mean when she's upset. Just let it go." So I did. Because that's what I always did. When Brittany married Devin 15 years ago, I was her maid of honor. They got married at the courthouse because they couldn't afford a real wedding. Devin was working construction, and Brittany was between jobs again. I threw her a reception at my house. Spent $2,000 I couldn't really afford on food, decorations, a cake. Invited 75 people. Even bought her dress from David's Bridal because she didn't have the money. It cost $300. At the reception, she made a toast. I remember it word for word. "I know this isn't the wedding I always dreamed of. Not like some people got." She'd looked right at me. "But Devin and I are starting our journey together with love, and that's what really matters. We don't need fancy venues or expensive flowers. We have each other." Everyone had clapped, and I'd smiled like my heart wasn't breaking. Like she hadn't just publicly compared our weddings and found mine wanting. Marcus had been furious. "Why do you let her talk to you like that?" "She doesn't mean it." "Yes, she does. She's always done this, and your mother enables it." "She's my sister." "Yeah, and you deserve better from her." But I couldn't imagine cutting Brittany off. She was my baby sister, the girl I'd helped raise, the person I'd sacrificed for. Family was family, right? 2 months ago, Brittany called me out of the blue. "Hey, sis," she said, her voice bright and cheerful in that way that immediately made me suspicious. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure, what's up?" "So, you know how Devin and I are doing a vow renewal for our 15th anniversary?" "Yeah, Mama mentioned it. That's sweet." "Well, I was thinking, you know how beautiful your wedding dress was? The one you wore when you married Marcus?" There it was. that prickle of unease running down my spine. Brittany had never complimented my wedding before. She'd never even mentioned it unless she had to. For 15 years, she'd avoided talking about my wedding day like it was a sore subject. Yeah? Could I maybe borrow it for the ceremony? I know it's a lot to ask, but I've always loved that dress, and it would mean so much to me to wear something that symbolizes a lasting marriage. The compliment felt wrong, like shoes that were the right size but pinched in weird places. I don't know, Brittany. That dress is really special to me. I know, and I promise I'll take such good care of it. Her voice got emotional, that quaver she'd perfected over the years. It's just, Denise, Devin and I have been through so much. Money problems, fertility struggles, you name it. And I want this vow renewal to be perfect, to remind ourselves why we fell in love. And wearing your dress, the dress of someone whose marriage I really admire, it would just mean everything to me. She'd never said she admired my marriage before. Usually, she made passive-aggressive comments about how easy we had it. You and Marcus are goals, you know, she continued. 20 years and still going strong. I want some of that magic. I want to feel like a real bride, even if it's just for one day. And I can't afford a new dress. You know how tight money is. There it was again. The money card. The "you have everything and I have nothing" card. I hesitated. That dress was special to me, not just because I'd worn it on my wedding day, but because of what it represented. Marcus and I had been broke when we got engaged. We were both still in school, me finishing my bachelor's, him working on his master's. We'd saved for that wedding by eating ramen noodles for 6 months, by skipping movies and dinners out, by putting every extra dollar into a jar on our dresser. My mother had refused to help pay for the wedding because she thought we were too young, that we should wait. "You'll regret rushing into this," she'd said. So we'd done it ourselves, and that dress, that beautiful ivory dress with the beaded bodice, had been my one splurge, the one thing I'd allowed myself to spend money on. I remember standing in David's bridal, looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, this is it. This is the dress that says I'm not just playing house, I'm actually becoming someone's wife. It had been the first time in my life I'd felt truly beautiful. But Brittany was my sister, my baby sister who I'd help raise, and she was asking me for help. How could I say no? "Sure," I heard myself say. "You can borrow it." "Really? Oh my God, Denise, thank you so much. You're the best sister ever. I can't believe you're doing this for me." The enthusiasm felt performative, but I pushed that thought away. "Just take care of it, okay? It's important to me." "Of course. I'll treat it like it's made of gold. I promise. I'll even pay to have it cleaned before and after. You won't have to lift a finger." "That's not necessary." "No, I want to. You're doing me such a huge favor. The least I can do is cover the cleaning. You probably don't even think about that dress anymore. Your life is so much bigger now, but it would mean the world to me." After we hung up, I sat there for a long moment, staring at my phone. Marcus looked up from his laptop. "What was that about?" "Brittany wants to borrow my wedding dress for her vow renewal." He was quiet for a beat. "And you said yes?" "Yeah. Why? You think I shouldn't have?" "I don't know. It just seems like a big ask. That dress means a lot to you." "It's just a dress." "Is it, though?" He closed his laptop and looked at me directly. "That dress represents a really important time in our lives, the beginning of us. You sure you want to hand that over to Brittany?" I thought about all the times I'd handed things over to Brittany. Money, time, emotional labor, the benefit of the doubt. She's my sister. "I know,
But she's also the person who compared your weddings at her own reception.
The person who makes comments about our house. The person who... I know what she is, Marcus, but I'm not going to be petty about a dress. He raised his hands in surrender. Okay, it's your decision. I just want you to think about whether she'd do the same for you. I didn't answer because I already knew. Brittany wouldn't lend me something precious. She'd find an excuse. She'd say no. But I wasn't Brittany, and I didn't want to be. That weekend, I climbed up into the attic. It was hot and dusty, filled with boxes of Christmas decorations and old baby clothes I couldn't bring myself to throw away. The preservation box was in the back corner, heavy and awkward, covered in a thick layer of dust. I hadn't opened it in years, hadn't even thought about it much. I brought it down to the guest bedroom and carefully unsealed it. The tape was old and brittle, peeling away easily. Inside, wrapped in layers of acid-free tissue paper, was my wedding dress. The ivory satin had yellowed slightly with age, more cream now than white. But the beading on the bodice still sparkled in the afternoon light. The full skirt still had its structure, the layers of tulle and crinoline holding their shape. The cap sleeves were delicate and feminine, just like I remembered. I held it up against myself, looking in the mirror. And I was 27 again, standing in that bridal shop, heart pounding, Marcus waiting outside because we were traditional like that. The saleswoman had zipped me up, and I'd turned to look at myself and thought, oh, this is who I am. This is who I'm becoming. You were so beautiful in that dress, Marcus said from the doorway. He'd come upstairs without me noticing. I blinked back tears. I was 27. Everything looked good when I was 27. You're still beautiful now. More beautiful, actually. You're biased. Doesn't make it less true. He came closer, touched the beading gently. Are you sure about this? No, I admitted, but I already said yes, and I can't take it back without looking petty. You could just say you changed your mind. And then what? Brittany tells everyone I'm selfish. Mama gets involved. It becomes this whole thing. So you'd rather give up something important to you than deal with their reaction? I carefully refolded the dress. I'll take it to get cleaned tomorrow. Make sure it's perfect for her. Marcus sighed. If you're sure. I'm sure. But I wasn't sure. Not really. I had this nagging feeling in my gut, this voice whispering that I was making a mistake. I should have listened to that voice. I took the dress to Deluxe Cleaners in Decatur the next day, the same place that had cleaned it after my wedding 20 years ago. Mrs. Chen, the owner, was still there. She must have been in her 70s now, but she had the same sharp eyes and careful hands. Wedding dress? She asked, examining the fabric. Yes, ma'am. I'm loaning it to my sister for her vow renewal ceremony. She looked at me over her glasses. Your dress? From your own wedding? Yes, ma'am. And you're giving it to your sister? Something in her tone made me defensive. Just loaning it. She'll give it back after the ceremony. Mrs. Chen was quiet for a long moment, running her fingers over the beading. This is beautiful work. David's Bridal, early 2000s, good quality, worth taking care of. I know. You sure about this? Everyone keeps asking me that. Maybe you should listen. She handed me a receipt. 1 week. I'll make it beautiful for you again. $175. Brittany had said she'd pay for the cleaning. When I texted her the receipt, she read it but never responded. I should have seen that as a sign. A week later, I picked up the dress. It looked amazing. Mrs. Chen had worked some kind of magic. The yellowing was completely gone. The beading sparkled like new. Even the faint stain on the hem from where I'd stepped in mud during photos had disappeared. I called Brittany. "The dress is ready. When do you want to pick it up?" "Oh, can you bring it by? I'm totally swamped with vow renewal planning. You know how it is." So I drove to her house in Decatur on a Saturday afternoon, the dress carefully laid across my back seat in its preservation bag. Brittany's house was in an older neighborhood, the kind where some houses were beautifully maintained and others were falling apart. Hers was somewhere in between, decent from the outside, but you could tell maintenance wasn't a priority. She answered the door in yoga pants and an oversized t-shirt, her hair in a messy bun. "You're a lifesaver," she said, hugging me quickly. "Come in, come in." Inside, the house was cluttered. Magazines everywhere, mail piled on the dining room table, dishes in the sink. Clothes draped over the back of the couch. It had always been this way with Brittany. She wasn't great at keeping house. "Sorry about the mess," she said, though she didn't sound sorry. "We've been so busy with work and planning." "It's fine." "Let me see it." She reached for the preservation bag like a kid reaching for candy. I handed it over carefully, watching as she unzipped it and pulled out the dress. "Oh my God," she breathed, holding it up against herself. "This is even more beautiful than I remembered. Like, this is a real wedding dress, not some cheap thing." The way she said it stung. Her dress had been $300 from David's bridal. Not cheap, but not expensive either. Mine had been $847.99. I remembered the exact amount because I'd counted out cash at the register, money Marcus and I had saved dollar by dollar. "Can I try it on?" she asked. "Just to see if it needs any alterations?" "Sure." She disappeared into her bedroom with the dress. I waited in the living room, looking at the photos on the wall. Most were of her and Devin, their courthouse wedding, vacations to Panama City Beach, anniversaries at the Cheesecake Factory. None of them included me. There was one photo from her courthouse wedding day. She and Devin standing on the steps of the Fulton County Courthouse, her in a simple white sundress, him in khakis and a button-down. They looked happy, young and hopeful and in love. For just a second, I felt bad for thinking uncharitable thoughts about my sister. Then she emerged from the bedroom wearing my dress, and the feeling evaporated. It fit her differently than it had fit me. She was taller, so the hem hid above her ankles instead of at her feet. Her bust was larger, so the bodice strained slightly, the beading pulling. But the overall effect was stunning. "What do you think?" she asked, twirling. The skirt flared out, layers of tulle catching the light. "You look gorgeous, but it might need some alterations. The bust is a little tight." "Yeah, I can see that. I'll take it to my seamstress next week. She can probably let it out a bit." She looked at herself in the mirror on the wall, smoothing her hands over the fabric. "This dress has such good energy, you know? Like it's been blessed by a happy marriage. I can feel it." The way she said it made my skin crawl, though I couldn't articulate why. "Just be careful with it," I said, "and get it back to me right after the ceremony, okay? I'd like to have it cleaned and put back in storage as soon as possible." Of course, of course. Don't worry about a thing." Devin came home while she was still wearing it. He walked in, saw her, and stopped dead. "Wow," he said. "Britt, you look amazing." "It's Denise's dress," she said, turning to show him the back. "She's letting me borrow it." "That's really nice of her." He looked at me. "This is the dress from your wedding?" "Yeah." "Now this looks like a real wedding dress," he said. Not maliciously, just stating a fact. Not like... He caught himself. "I mean, you know what I mean." I knew exactly what he meant. Not like the $300 dress I'd bought for Brittany's courthouse wedding. "Thanks," I said flatly. Brittany was still looking at herself in the mirror, touching the beading, running her hands over the skirt. She looked happy, really genuinely happy in a way I hadn't seen in years. And part of me, the part that had raised her, that had sacrificed for her, was glad to see her happy. But another part, a smaller, meaner part, whispered, "She's going to ruin it. She always ruins things." I ignored that voice, told it to shut up, because I loved my sister, even when she made it really, really hard. The vow renewal ceremony was scheduled for a Saturday afternoon in late October at New Hope Baptist Church, the same church where both Brittany and I had gotten married, the same church where our father's funeral had been held. Marcus and I arrived with our kids about 15 minutes before the ceremony was supposed to start. The October air was crisp and cool, leaves turning gold and orange on the trees lining the street. The church was decorated beautifully, white roses everywhere, their scent filling the air. Candles lined the aisles, flickering softly. Soft music played from the organ, Ave Maria, the same song that had played during my wedding processional. My mother was near the entrance, greeting guests. She wore a lavender dress suit with a matching hat that looked expensive, more expensive than anything she'd worn to my wedding. "Denise," she said when she saw me, pulling me into a hug that felt performative. "Don't you look nice?" I was wearing a simple burgundy dress from Ann Taylor, nothing special. "Thanks, Mama. You look beautiful." "Well, it's a special day. My baby girl renewing her vows." She dabbed at her eyes with a lace handkerchief. "I'm just so emotional. It feels like yesterday she was getting married the first time." At the courthouse, I wanted to add, with a reception I paid for. "Where should we sit?" Marcus asked, his hand on my lower back, protective. He could sense the tension. "Oh, anywhere is fine," Mama said, waving her hand. "Just not the front row. That's for immediate family." I was immediate family, but I didn't argue. We found seats in the third row, close enough to see everything, but not so close that we'd be in everyone's photos. Maya sat next to me, already scrolling through her phone. Jordan and Caleb were whispering to each other about something. "Boys," Marcus said quietly, "church behavior." They settled down, looking appropriately chastised. The pianist began playing, transitioning from background music to the processional, and then Brittany appeared at the back of the church. She was wearing my dress. The sight of it hit me like a physical blow, because it wasn't just any dress, it was my dress. The dress I'd worn on the happiest day of my life, the dress I'd saved for, the dress I'd felt beautiful in. And she looked stunning. The alterations had been done well. The bust was let out, the hem shortened to the perfect length. The beading caught the candlelight, sparkling as she moved. She'd done her hair in an elaborate updo with white roses woven through it. Her makeup was perfect, dramatic, but elegant. She looked like a magazine bride. Devin was already at the altar with Pastor Williams, wearing a sharp black suit. When he saw Brittany, his face lit up with genuine love. She walked down the aisle alone, no one to give her away this time. Past rows of family and friends, all of them turning to look, to admire, to whisper compliments. I felt something twist in my chest. Jealousy? No, not quite. Something more complicated, like watching someone wear your skin. When Brittany reached the altar, she and Devin joined hands. Pastor Williams smiled warmly at them both. "Dearly beloved," he began, We are gathered here today to witness Devin and Brittany as they renew the vows they made to each other 15 years ago. I tried to focus on the ceremony, tried to be happy for my sister, but I kept getting distracted by the dress, by flashes of memory. Standing in the bridal shop dressing room, Marcus's mom helping me zip up. "Oh, honey, you look perfect." Walking down this same aisle 20 years ago, seeing Marcus's face when he first saw me, the way his eyes had filled with tears. Dancing at our reception, the dress swirling around me, feeling like a princess for the first and only time in my life. The memories came in fragments, overlaying the present moment, past and present blurring together. Pastor Williams was talking about marriage, about commitment, about love that endures through hardship. Standard ceremony stuff. Devin was looking at Brittany like she hung the moon. And then Pastor Williams said, "Brittany has prepared some words she'd like to share before we renew the vows." My stomach dropped. Brittany stepped forward, taking a microphone from someone in the front row. She took a breath, touched the beaded bodice of my dress reverently. "Before we renew our vows," she began, her voice carrying through the church, "I want to say something about this dress." No, 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 no. "This dress," she continued, her voice getting emotional, "has been in our family for generations." The air left my lungs. "Our grandmother Rose wore it when she married our grandfather in 1952. Our mother Patricia wore it when she married our father in 1975. And I wore a version of it when I married Devin 15 years ago at the courthouse." My hands were shaking. Marcus squeezed one of them, hard. "But life happened, and my first wedding dress got damaged and had to be thrown away. So, when Devin and I decided to renew our vows, I knew I wanted to wear the original family dress, the one our grandmother wore, the one our mother wore." I looked at Mama in the front row. She was nodding, tears streaming down her face, like every word Brittany was saying was the gospel truth. "This dress," Brittany said, touching it again, "represents generations of love and commitment in our family. It's been passed down from mother to daughter, keeping our history alive, and wearing it today." Her voice broke convincingly. "It makes me feel connected to the women who came before me, to their strength, their love, their devotion." People were crying now. I could hear sniffles throughout the church. It was all lies, every single word. Maya leaned over and whispered, "Mom, why is Aunt Brittany lying?" I couldn't answer, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. The ceremony continued. Brittany and Devin renewed their vows, voices shaking with emotion. They exchanged new rings. Pastor Williams blessed their union. They kissed, and everyone applauded. And I sat there, frozen, trying to understand what had just happened. That's my dress. My dress. I bought it. I wore it. I gave it to her. Why is she lying? After the ceremony, everyone filed out to the fellowship hall for the reception. I walked through the crowd in a daze, accepting congratulations and compliments like I was on autopilot. "Such a beautiful ceremony! That dress is stunning. I love that it's a family heirloom. Your grandmother must have been so petite." Each comment felt like a knife. Brittany was surrounded by people, all of them gushing over her, over the dress, over the beautiful story she'd told. Aunt Linda, Dad's sister, grabbed my arm. "Denise, did you know about the dress? About it being Mama Rose's?" I My voice came out scratchy. I need some water. I escaped to the hallway near the bathrooms, leaning against the wall, trying to breathe. Marcus found me. What just happened? She lied. She stood up there and lied to everyone. That's your dress. I know it's my dress. My voice came out louder than I'd intended. I bought it. I wore it. I have the receipts at home. None of what she said was true. So what are you going to do? I don't know. I need to talk to her. I need to understand why. There you are, Brittany said, appearing suddenly around the corner. She was glowing, radiant, high on attention. Wasn't the ceremony beautiful? I stared at her. Brittany, what the hell was that? Her smile faltered slightly. What do you mean? The story, about the dress, about it being in our family for generations. Oh, she waved her hand dismissively. Just a little something to make the ceremony more meaningful. People love that kind of thing. It's not true. So? I felt like I'd been slapped. So? So it's a lie, Brittany. That's my dress, the one I bought in 2003, the one I just loaned you. She laughed, this light tinkling sound that made me want to shake her. Girl, what are you talking about? This is Grandma Rose's dress. No, it's not. I was trying to keep my voice down, but it was getting harder. Grandma Rose's dress was cream-colored with long sleeves and a high neck and lace all over it. I've seen the pictures, Brittany. This is not that dress. You're confused. For one horrifying second, the ground beneath me tilted. If your own mother and sister say you're wrong, what if you are? I'm not confused! People in the fellowship hall were starting to look toward us. I could see heads turning, hear the whispers starting. Denise, seriously, you need to calm down. You're obviously stressed about something. She touched my arm, her expression suddenly full of concern, like she was worried about me. Are things okay at work? Marcus said you'd been working a lot of overtime. Marcus had not said that. We barely spoke to Brittany. Don't, I said, pulling my arm away. Don't do that. Don't make this about me being stressed. That dress is mine. I bought it at David's Bridal in Lithonia 20 years ago. I have the receipt. I have pictures of me wearing it on my wedding day. Maybe you're thinking of a different dress? She tilted her head, her voice dripping with false sympathy. I know you looked at a lot of them before your wedding. It's easy to get them mixed up in your memory. I didn't look at a lot of dresses. I looked at 3, and I bought that one, the one you're wearing right now. This is the dress from Grandma Rose's wedding. Mama confirmed it. She wore it when she married Daddy. No, she didn't. I've seen Mama's wedding pictures. Her dress was completely different. It's okay to be confused, Denise. Her voice was so gentle, so reasonable. Memory is a funny thing. Sometimes we remember things differently than they actually happened, especially when we're stressed or tired. My heart was pounding. My vision was going narrow and dark at the edges. This couldn't be happening. She couldn't actually be trying to gaslight me. Why are you doing this? My voice came out as a whisper. Doing what? I'm just trying to help you understand that you're confused about the dress. I'm not confused. Denise, stop lying. Just stop. Why are you lying? Our mother appeared then, dabbing at her eyes with that handkerchief, her face full of concern. What's going on out here? I can hear you two all the way in the fellowship hall. Mama, I said desperately, turning to her like I used to as a child when I needed someone to tell me the truth. Tell Brittany the truth. Tell her that dress is mine, that I bought it in 2003. You remember, don't you? We went to David's bridal together. You were there when I tried it on. My mother looked at me with that same concerned expression Brittany had worn, and my stomach dropped. "Denise, honey," she said softly, "this is Grandma Rose's dress. You know that. I wore it when I married your father." The floor felt like it was tilting under my feet. "No, no, Mama, that's not true. I've seen your wedding pictures. Your dress was completely different. It had long sleeves and a train and—" "I had 2 dresses, sweetheart. Don't you remember?" She spoke slowly, carefully, like she was talking to a confused child. "The church dress and the reception dress. This was my church dress." "That's not—" I couldn't breathe. My chest felt tight. "Why are you both lying to me?" "Nobody's lying," Mama said, using that same gentle, patronizing tone. "You're just having a stressful day. It happens to everyone, honey. Why don't you go get some water? Sit down for a bit. Relax." "I don't want to relax. I want you to stop lying." "Denise, you need to calm down," Brittany said. "You're making a scene. People are staring." "I don't care if people are staring. You borrowed my dress, and now you're trying to act like it's some family heirloom that's been passed down for generations." "I think maybe you should go home," Mama said firmly. Her voice had shifted from gentle to authoritative. "You're clearly not yourself right now. You're upsetting your sister on her special day." "I'm upsetting—" I couldn't even finish the sentence. "Are you serious right now?" "Very serious. You're being inappropriate. This is Brittany's ceremony, and you're trying to make it about you." "I'm not trying to make it about me. I'm trying to tell the truth." "The truth," Mama said coldly, "is that you're being dramatic. You've always been dramatic, Denise, always making mountains out of molehills, always needing to be the center of attention." The words hit me like a physical blow, because that wasn't true. That had never been true. I was the one who kept the peace, the one who stayed quiet, the one who let things go. "Mama—" "I think you should leave," she said. "Take Marcus and the kids and go home. We'll talk about this later when you're feeling more rational." They walked away together, Mama's arm around Brittany's shoulders, both of them unified, leaving me standing alone in the hallway. People were definitely staring now. I could feel their eyes on me, could hear the whispers. What was that about? She seems upset. Maybe she's jealous. Marcus appeared at my side. "What happened?" "They're gaslighting me. Both of them. They're trying to make me think I'm crazy." "You're not crazy. That's your dress." "I know it's my dress, but they're acting like I'm losing my mind." My hands were shaking. I felt dizzy, disoriented, like the ground had shifted beneath me. For just a second, just one horrible second, I doubted myself. What if I am confused? What if I'm remembering it wrong? What if that really was Grandma's dress, and somehow No, no. I stopped that thought cold. I knew what I knew. I'd lived it. I'd been there. That dress was mine. "Let's go home," Marcus said quietly. "Let's go get proof. Your wedding album, the receipts, whatever you need." "We can't just leave. The reception just started." "Yes, we can. Come on." We found Maya and the boys, made excuses about Caleb not feeling well, and left. The drive home was silent, except for the sound of Maya's music playing softly from her headphones. My mind was racing, trying to understand how this had happened, How my own mother and sister could look me in the eye and lie so convincingly. How they could make me doubt reality. And then it hit me. They'd planned this. Both of them. Together. Brittany hadn't just spontaneously decided to lie about the dress. She'd told Mama. They'd discussed it. They'd agreed on the story. They'd coordinated their responses. They'd decided together to erase me from my own history. When we got home, I went straight to the guest room closet where I kept our wedding album and other memorabilia. My hands were still shaking as I pulled out boxes, searching old Christmas ornaments, baby clothes I'd saved, photo albums from the kids' early years. And then, in the back, the white leather album with our names embossed in gold. Denise and Marcus, June 14th, 2003. I brought it to the kitchen table, Marcus and the kids gathering around. "You okay, Mom?" Maya asked softly. "No, but I will be." I opened the album with shaking hands. There I was, 27 years old, standing in that church, wearing that exact dress. Same beading, same neckline, same everything. Photo after photo. Me walking down the aisle. Me and Marcus exchanging vows. Me laughing with my bridesmaids. Me dancing with my father. One of the last photos ever taken of him before he died. All of it in that dress. My dress. And tucked into the back of the album, in a plastic sleeve I'd put there 20 years ago, was the receipt from David's bridal. $847.99 for the dress. $125 for the first alteration. $75 for the second alteration. $50 for the hem adjustment. All of it dated June 2003. All of it with my name. There was also the preservation cleaning receipt from Deluxe Cleaners, dated July 2003. The company that had stored it for 20 years. Marcus looked over my shoulder. "There's your proof." "They knew," I said slowly, the realization sinking in. They had to have known this was my dress. Brittany called and asked to borrow it 2 months ago. I gave it to her. I even had it cleaned. And then she and Mama planned this whole elaborate lie. "But why?" Jordan asked. He was 15, old enough to understand betrayal. "Why would Aunt Brittany lie like that?" "I don't know, baby, but I'm going to find out." "What are you going to do?" Maya asked. I looked at the album, at the receipts, at 20 years of proof. I'm going back to that reception, and I'm going to show everyone the truth. We drove back to New Hope Baptist Church. The reception was in full swing, music playing from speakers, people dancing, the smell of fried chicken and collard greens filling the fellowship hall. I walked in carrying my wedding album like a shield. People noticed immediately. The energy shifted. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. I found Brittany near the gift table, surrounded by cousins, Jasmine, Monica, and Keisha. They were all gushing over her dress. "Brittany," I said. My voice came out steadier than I felt. "We need to talk." She turned, her smile faltering when she saw the album in my hands. "Denise, I thought you left." "I did, but I came back. Because I need to show you something." I opened the album to a page with several photos of me in the dress. Clear, high-resolution photos that showed every detail. The beading pattern, the neckline, the way the skirt fell. This is me, in that dress, on my wedding day, June 14th, 2003. Our cousins leaned in, looking at the photos. Jasmine's eyes went wide. Brittany glanced at the photos, then looked away. So, lots of brides wear similar dresses. It's not similar. It's the exact same dress. I pulled out the receipts. Here's the receipt from David's bridal, June 2003, $847.99. My name. Here are the alteration receipts, 3 separate alterations, all dated 2003, all with my name. Here's the preservation cleaning receipt from July 2003. I spread them out on the gift table like evidence at a trial. This dress is mine, not a family heirloom, not Grandma Rose's dress, not Mama's dress. Mine. I bought it. I wore it. I loaned it to you 2 months ago. And you stood up in that church and lied to everyone about where it came from. The fellowship hall had gone quiet. The music was still playing, but no one was dancing. Everyone was watching. Monica spoke up. Wait, so this isn't the dress from Grandma Rose's wedding? No, I said firmly. Grandma Rose's dress was cream-colored with long sleeves. I've seen the pictures.
This is my dress from 2003. Brittany's face had gone pale. Those receipts could be for anything. They're for this dress, the dress you're wearing right now. Look at the description on the receipt. Ivory satin A-line gown with beaded bodice and cap sleeves. That's this dress. Our mother pushed through the crowd. Denise, what are you doing? Why are you trying to ruin your sister's special day? I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm telling the truth. A truth you both know, because you both lied about it. You need to stop this right now. No! My voice echoed through the hall. I'm done being quiet. I'm done letting you gaslight me. I'm done pretending everything is fine when you're both lying to my face. Devin appeared at Brittany's side, confusion written all over his face. Baby, what's going on? I turned to him. Your wife borrowed my wedding dress for this ceremony. My dress. The one I wore when I married Marcus in 2003. And then she stood up in that church and told everyone it was a family heirloom that's been passed down for generations. She lied. To you, to everyone here, to me. Denise is confused, Brittany started. Look at the pictures, Devin, I interrupted, pushing the album toward him. Look at the receipts. All of it proves this dress is mine. Devin picked up the album, flipped through pages slowly, studied the receipts, looked at the dates. Then he looked at Brittany, and I saw the exact moment he understood. Someone in the crowd, Cousin Monica, whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Lord, she really tried to pass that off as Grandma Rose's? Brittany? His voice was quiet, controlled, dangerous. Is this true? It's not how it sounds. Did you borrow this dress from your sister? Yes, but... And then lie to me about where it came from? Lie to everyone here? I just wanted people to think I had something special. So you stole your sister's story? His voice was rising now. You made me stand up there and participate in this lie? I didn't think she'd care. It's just a dress. It's not just a dress, I said. It's my history, my marriage, my memories, and you tried to take them and pretend they were yours. Aunt Linda spoke up from the crowd. So Mama Rose didn't wear this dress? No, I said, and neither did Mama. They lied about all of it. People were murmuring now. Some looked shocked. Some looked angry. Some looked like they were already mentally composing the gossip they'd spread later. Mama tried to salvage things. This is all just a misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding. Maya's voice cut through the noise. My daughter, standing up, phone in hand. I can literally pull up pictures of my mom's wedding on her Facebook. She's worn that dress. Look! She held up her phone, showing old photos I'd posted years ago. Me in the dress, me and Marcus. The date clearly visible, June 14th, 2003. You weren't even born yet, Grandma, Maya continued, her voice sharp with teenage righteousness. So you can't tell me those memories are fake. Mama looked like she'd been slapped. Devin was still staring at Brittany. You made me stand up there and lie, in front of God and everyone. You made me part of this. I'm sorry. No. He shook his head. You're not sorry you lied. You're sorry you got caught. He started to walk away, but I stopped him. Actually, before anyone goes anywhere, I looked at Brittany. I want the dress back. Right now. She froze. What? That dress is mine. You borrowed it under false pretenses. You've lied about it. Now I'm taking it back. You can't be serious. I'm in the middle of my reception. I don't care. Take it off. Denise, please, take it off. The room was dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. Brittany looked around desperately, like someone might save her. But no one moved. Fine, she finally spat. Fine, take your precious dress. God forbid I have one thing that makes me feel special. She stormed toward the bathroom. I followed, Maya right behind me. In the bathroom, Brittany yanked at the zipper with angry, jerky movements. The zipper caught, stuck on the beading. Careful, I started. Oh, now you care if it gets damaged? She pulled harder. Something ripped, the zipper pulling away from the fabric slightly. The sound of the zipper tearing felt louder than her lie. Brittany, stop! You're going to ruin it! So what? It's just a dress, right? That's what you said. It's just a dress. Maya stepped forward. Let me help. Brittany jerked away. I don't need help. She finally got the zipper down, stepping out of the dress with violent, sharp movements. She stood there in shapewear and a strapless bra, mascara running down her face. You know what your problem is? She said, voice shaking. You've always had everything. Perfect husband, perfect kids, perfect house, perfect job. And I've had to scrape and fight for every little thing. So yes, I wanted one day where people looked at me the way they look at you. Where I had a story that made me special. Where I wasn't just the sister who couldn't get her life together. So you tried to steal mine? My voice was quieter now, but harder. I didn't steal anything. I just borrowed a story. Like you've never told a story to make yourself look better. I've never lied about something this big, and I've definitely never tried to make you doubt your own reality. She grabbed a bathrobe from the hook on the door, wrapping it around herself. You're going to hold this over me forever, aren't you? Perfect Denise and her imperfect sister. I never asked you to be perfect, Brittany. I just asked you to be honest. Maya handed me a garment bag she'd brought from the car. Always prepared, my girl. I picked up the dress from where Brittany had dropped it on the floor. It was warm from her body, slightly damp from sweat. The zipper was damaged, pulled away from the fabric. There was a small rip in the beading where she'd yanked too hard. You're going to pay to fix this, I said. Whatever. I zipped the dress into the garment bag and walked out. In the fellowship hall, people parted to let us through. Some looked sympathetic. Some looked uncomfortable. Some, like Aunt Linda, looked almost gleeful at the drama. I didn't care what any of them thought. I had my dress. I had the truth. Devin caught up with us at the door. Denise, I really am sorry. If I'd known she was lying. It's not your fault, Devin. But maybe pay closer attention to who you're married to. He nodded slowly. Yeah, maybe I should. I didn't speak to my mother or Brittany for 6 months after that. They both called repeatedly at first. Texts, voicemails, long rambling messages that started with apologies and ended with accusations. Mama, I was just trying to support your sister. You know how sensitive she is. Brittany, I can't believe you embarrassed me like that in front of everyone. You've always been jealous of me. I deleted them all without responding. Silence became my boundary. Friends and family members tried to play mediator. Aunt Linda called to say I was tearing the family apart. Cousin Jasmine said I was being too harsh. Even my own mother-in-law weighed in. Family is family, Denise. You should try to forgive. But Marcus shut that down immediately. My wife was gaslighted by her own mother and sister. She has every right to protect herself. The kids were my strongest supporters. Maya was furious on my behalf. They tried to make you think you were crazy, Mom. That's abuse. Jordan, ever the practical one, asked, why would they lie about something so stupid? Caleb, only 12, said simply, what they did was mean. Really mean. I had the dress cleaned again. It cost $250 this time because of the damage. The zipper had to be repaired, some beading reattached. I sent Brittany the bill. She never paid. Then I put it back in its preservation box and stored it in the attic. I thought that would be the end of it. But 6 months after the vow renewal, on a rainy Tuesday afternoon in April, Brittany showed up at my door. I opened it to find her standing there, looking smaller than I remembered. Thinner. Her face was drawn, tired. No makeup. Hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. What do you want? I asked. To apologize. Really apologize. Can I come in? I hesitated. Every instinct told me to say no, to protect myself. But she was still my sister, the girl I'd raised, the person I'd loved. I stepped aside. We sat in my living room, me on the couch, her in the armchair, an ocean of awkward silence stretching between us. I've been in therapy, she finally said, since the vow renewal. Devin insisted. He said either I get help or he's done. Good for him. My therapist says I have a lot of issues. Jealousy, resentment, a pattern of rewriting reality to make myself the victim. She laughed bitterly. My therapist asked me when was the first time I lied. I said, last year. She said, try again. I'm like a textbook case, apparently. Brittany, let me finish. Please. She took a shaky breath. I'm jealous of you. I've always been jealous of you. Even when we were kids. You were the responsible one, the smart one, the one everyone could count on. And I was the mess. The one who needed saving. You're not a mess. Yes, I am. Or I was. I don't know. She wiped her eyes. My therapist made me list all the times you've helped me, all the money you've loaned me, all the times you've bailed me out. It took 3 full sessions. 3 sessions, Denise. I stayed quiet, letting her talk. And you know what I realized? I resented you for it, for being the person I needed help from. Every time you helped me, it reminded me that I was failing, that you had your life together and I didn't. So you tried to steal my story about the dress. Yes. She looked directly at me. And it wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing. I planned it, with Mama. We talked about it for weeks. The confirmation felt like a punch to the gut, even though I'd already known. Why? My voice came out as a whisper. Because for once, I wanted to be the special one, the one with the romantic story, the one people admired. And when I put on that dress and looked in the mirror, I saw you. I saw your perfect wedding, your perfect marriage, your perfect life. And I wanted it to be mine, just for one day. So you tried to gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. Yes, and that was... Her voice broke. That was unforgivable. My therapist says it was a form of emotional abuse, that I was trying to rewrite reality because I couldn't handle the truth. The truth being that I'm the failure, not you, me. And instead of doing the work to fix my life, I tried to steal yours. We sat in silence for a long moment. What about Mama? I asked. Does she understand what she did? She's in therapy too now, dealing with her own stuff. She's scared you'll never forgive her. I might not. I understand. What we did was... She shook her head. There's no excuse. We tried to erase you. We tried to make you doubt yourself. We took something precious and tried to make it ours. Yes, you did. Can you forgive me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know, I finally said honestly. Maybe someday, but not yet. What you did broke something. Between us. Between me and Mama. I don't know if it can be fixed. Okay. She stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. And I understand if you never want to see me again. After she left, I sat on the couch for a long time, staring at nothing. Marcus found me there when he got home from work. You okay? Brittany came by. And? She apologized, said she's been in therapy, said she understands what she did was wrong. Do you believe her? Yeah, actually, I do. Does that mean you're going to forgive her? I don't know. Maybe eventually, but not now. He pulled me into a hug. You don't have to forgive anyone before you're ready, and you don't have to forgive them at all if you don't want to. I know. You deserve people who don't try to steal your reality, Denise. You deserve people who believe you. I leaned into him, breathing in his familiar scent. Thank you for always believing me. Always, baby. Always. 1 year after the vow renewal incident, Maya was getting ready for senior prom. We'd been dress shopping for weeks. Everything was either too revealing, too boring, too expensive, or too trendy. Nothing felt right. I give up, she said one Saturday afternoon, flopping dramatically onto the couch. I'm just going to wear jeans. You are not wearing jeans to prom. Then I'm not going. I sat down next to her. What if we thought outside the box a little? What do you mean? What about my wedding dress? We could have it altered, made into something modern, something that's yours but still connected to our story. She sat up, interested. Really? You'd let me do that? I think so, yeah. But isn't it special to you? It is, but you're more special. And I think I'm ready to let it be something new, to stop holding on to it so tightly. Maya's eyes got misty. Mom, are you sure? I'm sure, baby. Let's go look at it together. We went up to the attic and brought down the preservation box, opened it together in the guest room. The dress was exactly as I'd left it, cleaned, repaired, wrapped carefully. Maya touched the beading reverently. It's so beautiful. I can see why Aunt Brittany wanted it. She didn't just want the dress. She wanted what it represented. Your perfect marriage? I laughed. Our marriage isn't perfect, baby. Your dad and I work at it every single day.
But it's ours. It's real. That's what she wanted, something real and earned. She just went about it the wrong way. Are you still mad at her? Sometimes. Less than I was, but I don't think things will ever be the same between us. That's sad. Yeah, it is. Maya held the dress up to herself, looking in the mirror. Could we make it shorter, like tea length, and maybe add some sparkle to the skirt? We can do whatever you want. It's your dress now. No, she said firmly. It's our dress. Yours and mine. Your story and my story woven together. I hugged her tight. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best. We took the dress to a seamstress in Decatur, Mrs. Park, who specialized in transforming vintage pieces. She was in her 60s, with sharp eyes and quick hands. You want to cut wedding dress? She asked, examining the fabric. Yes, ma'am, for prom. Make it modern, but keep the beading. Mrs. Park looked at me. You sure? This is beautiful dress. Vintage now. Worth keeping. I'm keeping it. Just changing it. Making it new. She studied the dress more carefully, running her fingers over the seams. I can work with this. Keep the bodice mostly same, shorten to tea length, add tulle underlayer for volume, maybe some rhinestones in skirt. Maya pulled out her phone, showing reference images. Something like this? Mrs. Park nodded. I can do. 3 weeks. You come for fitting in 2 weeks. As we left, Maya asked, Are you really okay with this? Cutting up your wedding dress? I am, because it's not really cutting it up. It's transforming it, giving it new life. And honestly, after everything that happened with Aunt Brittany, I think the dress needs a new story. A better story. What do you mean? That dress represents a lot of good things. My wedding to your dad, our love, our commitment. But it also represents betrayal now. Lies, gaslighting. And I don't want those memories attached to it anymore. So you're giving it to me to, what? Heal it? To give it new meaning. When you wear it to prom, it won't be the dress your aunt stole. It'll be the dress my daughter transformed. Our dress. Our story. She linked her arm through mine. I love you, Mom. Love you too, baby. 2 weeks later, we went for the fitting. Mrs. Park had worked magic. The bodice was mostly unchanged, still the same beautiful beaded design, but taken in to fit Maya's smaller frame. But the skirt was completely transformed, shortened to tea length, with layers of tulle underneath that made it float. Rhinestones had been added throughout, catching the light with every movement. It was still recognizably my wedding dress, but it was also completely new. Maya tried it on, and I cried, actual tears running down my face. You look so beautiful. Really? Really. She spun in front of the mirror, the skirt flaring out. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Mrs. Park smiled. Old dress, new life. Best kind of transformation. The night of prom, I helped Maya get ready. Did her makeup, soft and natural the way she liked it. Helped her into the dress. Zipped her up carefully, my hands on the same zipper I'd been zipped into 20 years ago.
You know what this dress represents now? I asked, meeting her eyes in the mirror. What? The truth. The truth about who we are and what we've been through. Nobody can take that from us. Nobody can rewrite our history. This dress is proof that we get to decide our own story. And what's our story, Mom? That we're strong. That we don't let other people define us. That we hold on to what matters and let go of what doesn't. And that family, real family, is about truth, not lies. She turned and hugged me carefully, mindful of her makeup. Thank you for this, for everything. You're welcome, baby. After she left with her friends, Marcus found me standing in her empty room, tears still on my cheeks. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I'm good.
Really good, actually.
You don't regret letting her transform the dress?
Not even a little. That dress needed this. I needed this. To see it become something new, something that's ours instead of something that was stolen. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. You know what I love about you? What? You take the hard stuff, the betrayal, the lies, the pain, and you transform it. You don't let it define you. You make it into something beautiful instead. I learned that from you. No, baby, you already knew it. I just get to watch you do it. We stood there together, looking at the empty room, thinking about our daughter out there in my transformed dress, making her own memories, and I felt at peace for the first time in over a year. 18 months after the vow renewal, my mother called and asked if we could meet for coffee. I agreed, not because I'd forgiven her, but because I was ready to hear what she had to say. We met at a Starbucks in Decatur, halfway between our houses. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a paper cup. She looked older, smaller, like the weight of what she'd done had physically diminished her. "Thank you for seeing me," she said as I sat down. "You're welcome. I owe you an apology, a real one, not the kind where I make excuses or try to minimize what I did. A real apology." I stayed quiet, waiting. What I did, supporting Brittany's lie, trying to make you doubt yourself, gaslighting you, it was wrong, deeply, fundamentally wrong. And I'm sorry. Why did you do it? She sighed, looking down at her coffee. Because Brittany has always been my baby, my youngest, the one who needed me most, and I've always had trouble setting boundaries with her. When she told me her plan about the dress, I should have shut it down immediately. I should have told her no, but I didn't. Why not? Because I wanted her to be happy. Because I was tired of watching her struggle.
Because part of me liked the idea of a family heirloom story, even if it wasn't true. It sounded nice, traditional, like we were the kind of family that passed things down. We're not that kind of family, though. No, we're not. We're the kind of family where the oldest daughter raises her little sister because the mother falls apart when the father dies. We're the kind of family where lies get told and nobody calls them out. We're the kind of family where one daughter is expected to hold everything together while the other one is allowed to fall apart. I'd never heard her admit that before. I failed you, Denise. Not just with the dress, with everything. I've asked you to be the adult since you were 20 years old. I've asked you to sacrifice for Brittany over and over. I've made you the strong one, the responsible one, the one who doesn't need anything. And that wasn't fair. No, it wasn't. I expected you to be strong because I didn't know how to be. The honesty of it hit me in the chest. And then, when you needed me to stand up for you, when you needed me to tell the truth, I chose Brittany instead. Again, like I always have. Why?
She was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Because Brittany falls apart when I don't support her. But you stay standing. You're strong. You've always been strong. So I guess I thought you could handle it. Just because I can handle something doesn't mean I should have to. I know that now. My therapist has been very clear about that. She looked up at me, and I saw tears in her eyes. I took advantage of your strength. I made you the parent when you should have been allowed to be the child. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I felt something crack open in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something like understanding. Do you know what the worst part was? I asked. Tell me. You made me doubt myself. For the first time in my life, you made me wonder if I was losing my mind, if my memories were real, if I could trust myself, and that... My voice broke. That was cruel, Mama. That was really, really cruel. I know. Tears were streaming down her face now. I know, and I'm so sorry. I should have protected you. I should have believed you. I should have been your mother instead of Brittany's enabler. We sat in silence for a moment, both of us crying quietly in a crowded Starbucks. Can you forgive me? She finally asked. I don't know. Maybe. Eventually. But things are different now. I need you to understand that. I do. I'm not the daughter who fixes everything anymore. I'm not the one who sacrifices myself so Brittany can be okay. I'm not the strong one who doesn't need anything. You shouldn't have had to be that person. No, I shouldn't have. But I was. And I'm done now. Okay. And if I let you back into my life, there are going to be boundaries, real ones, that you have to respect. I understand. Whatever you need. No more choosing Brittany over me. No more asking me to be the bigger person. No more expecting me to sacrifice myself for family peace. I agree. And no more lying, ever, about anything, even small things, because I can't... I took a shaky breath. I can't trust you right now, and it's going to take a long time to rebuild that. I know, and I'm willing to do the work, for as long as it takes. I studied her face. She looked sincere, broken, but sincere. Okay, I finally said. We can try, slowly, with boundaries. Thank you. She reached across the table and I let her take my hand. Thank you for giving me another chance. Don't make me regret it. I won't, I promise. We talked for another hour. She told me about her therapy, about the patterns she was learning to recognize, about how hard it was to admit she'd been a bad mother in some ways. Not all ways, I corrected. You were there after Dad died. You kept the house running. You made sure we ate. You did a lot of things right. But I failed you in the ways that mattered most. Yeah, you did. When we left, she hugged me at the door, and I let her. Not the same way I used to, not with complete trust, but with hope that maybe, someday, we could find our way back to something real. 2 years after the vow renewal, Maya graduated from high school. She wore the transformed dress to prom and to graduation parties, and eventually, she stored it carefully in her own preservation box. For my daughter someday, she said, if I have one. And if I don't, I'll give it to someone who needs something beautiful. someone who needs a story about transformation. Brittany and I had a careful, distant relationship. We saw each other at family events. We were polite, sometimes even warm, but we were never close again. The trust was gone, and we both knew it would never fully come back. She and Devin were in marriage counseling, working through the impact of her lies on their relationship. Last I heard, they were doing better, growing, learning. I was genuinely happy for her. My mother kept her word, respected boundaries, showed up differently. We had Sunday dinners again, but they were different now. More honest, less performative, more real. And me? I was okay. More than okay. I'd learned that you can love people and still protect yourself from them. That you can forgive without forgetting. That you can hold on to what matters and let go of what doesn't. That dress, my dress, Maya's dress, our dress, taught me that. It taught me that stories can be transformed, that what's stolen can be reclaimed, that lies can be met with truth. And most importantly, it taught me that nobody gets to rewrite my history but me. Not anymore.